Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your man, Jelani JB Bodie, host of this thing called the Wait a Minute Show. And I'm back once again to talk about sports, right? And today's show, a little bit different. I'll be rolling dolo today. Big Mo got the day off, got some things he got to take care of. So he'll be back. He'll be back next time. So don't worry. But make sure, if you haven't already, turn on those notifications, like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. You're sharing this information and this goodness that get put out there. So each and every time that me and Mo, when he gets back, you'll catch us for every show. We put something out every week, so don't miss out on it. Now, having said all that, let's get into it and talk about what is big going on in the world of sports. And the biggest thing right now is the NBA, right? NBA free agency kicked off. And it has not disappointed. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on everything that's going. If something happens, actually, while I'm talking, I'll definitely let you know. But previous things that have happened, I think the two biggest moves or the two biggest stories in my eyes is, one, Paul George leaving the LA Clippers, going to Philadelphia and joining Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. And then also, two, the Dallas Mavericks being able to sign Clay Matthews. So Clay leaving the Golden State Warriors, right? Golden State Warriors. I hate to say what I was saying before about that dynasty and everything kind of moving on, but this is another sign of the Warriors transitioning into being another team. So Clay leaves and goes to Dallas. So I want to start with Paul George first, right? Going to Philadelphia. So I don't have a problem with the move. I see what Philadelphia is doing. This is all about top tier competition. We saw what Philadelphia was able to accomplish with an unhealthy Joel Embiid, and they were in that matchup. But they needed another person. Now, getting Paul George is definitely going to add to the fuel that they're trying to fire up in Philadelphia. Side note, Tyrese Maxey, he got paid, so you don't have to worry about that. So you're going to have your nucleus. You're going to have your three-headed monster in Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Tyrese Maxey. And I think the real biggest thing for this team going forward, they got a coach in Nick Nurse who's has championship DNA. You have Paul George, who has some, success in the NBA and playoffs as well to go with that nucleus of that team. But I think the biggest thing for Paul George and for Joel Embiid is really just to be healthy, right? Really to be healthy. So Paul getting over to this team, I know people are going to say some things like, oh, man, he moving again, or all this, that, and the third. Look, you cannot just find the talent of a Paul George on the street. He is going to be an asset. He is going to be someone that puts this team, I won't say over the hump, but they definitely put them in the mix. So I was talking about Boston and New York kind of being a two-team conversation. And, you could throw Milwaukee, and Indiana in there. Those a little bit a second tier. But with Philadelphia putting this move with Paul George, this is going to put them, I think, in that conversation. They still have to do it. We still have to see it. There's been some hiccups when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers, but getting Paul George can't hurt. And it looked like Joel Embiid was Nostradamus, if you will. He was speaking the future and saying that they needed Paul George, and look what happened. Paul George ends up in Philadelphia. Somebody else that ended somewhere, as I was talking about it earlier, is Klay, right? Klay Thompson turns down money, reportedly, turned down more money to sign with the Dallas Mavericks. He was looking possibly to stay with Golden State. I guess they couldn't come to terms as far as like the money situation. So Klay said, deuces, I'll go ahead and bounce out and make my move somewhere else. So taking less money, props to him. Now, the one thing is he's going to Texas, so the cost of living is going to be a little bit different. The taxes work a little bit different than it does in California. So maybe that's offsetting some of that. But I think the biggest thing for this move is that, the Dallas Mavericks, they were just in the NBA Finals. And I think that Klay is looking at the landscape because The Lakers was rumored to be in that mix of a possibility of Klay going, and I forgot the other team. There was another team I think that was involved as well. Might have been the 76ers, but I think looking at the lay of the land, and he's looking at Luka, right? Kyrie's a little bit older, but he's looking at Luka. Luka is entering into his prime, or he's at his prime, and he played with a guy that played in his prime that was pretty good, and Steph. And Steph is still balling these days. So I think he's looking at that landscape versus maybe the Lakers situation and saying that, look, LeBron's going to be leaving. I don't know about, what the rest of this mix is going to look like when it comes to that after LeBron's leave. But again, he's on a team with a recent NBA Finals appearance. And I think Klay figures he fits in well with this because Klay doesn't have to be the Klay of Golden State. He don't have to be Game 6 Klay. You got Luka and you got Kyrie, for that. What Klay needs to do and get back to, if he can get to this, Dallas is going to be really, really deadly. And that is, just being able to shoot. Being able to shoot. So that adds another dimension that opens up the lane for Kyrie, that opens up also for Luka to be even more creative than what he is. And we've seen how Luka find guys in the corner or, behind him. He got eyes behind his back. Can you imagine if Klay is on point, if Klay is on target, Dallas is going to be, a team that we're going to put right back in the mix of getting back to the NBA Finals, at least talking about them getting back to the NBA Finals. And Klay Thompson offers that to them. So I like the move. I think, he made a good decision by going to Dallas at this point. You got Jason Kidd there. You got others as well. I know they lost Derrick Jones to the Clippers, but other guys can, possibly step up and they can get other people in there. So Klay going to the Dallas Mavericks was also a big one. So some of the other things that happened in free agency, and not necessarily, someone signing with another team, but re-signing with a team. Jason Tatum just recently signed $314 million extension. We knew that was coming. So obviously he tweaks out, Jaylen Brown. It's not a competition, but he tweaks out Jaylen Brown a little bit with it. But they got both their $300 million men. They also re-signed Derek White as well. So they have kept that, that core team, that nucleus. And I think Boston probably will be able to get people on discounts just for the sole fact of, the nucleus of this roster that they got. And Jason Tatum, along with Jaylen Brown, but Jason Tatum is one of the key cogs, for it. So you had to lock him down. We knew it was going to happen. And winning an NBA final doesn't hurt when you're saying, give me the money. And they gave him the money. So props to Jason Tatum. Who else? People ask me about this. Chris Paul, right? Now, he signed with San Antonio. And look, I believe Chris Paul, there's nowhere Chris Paul would go to where he can't be a factor. This is just me personally. It's not a hate or anything like that, but I just kind of wish he might have went to another team that was a little bit more further in that stage. Because I know Paul wants to get that. I know Chris wants to get that championship. And I just think San Antonio may be a little bit further behind than some of the other teams. But him and Wembanyama, look at Tyson Chandler. Who else? I got Kenyon Martin in my head. I don't think they played together. But if you look at any bigs that have played, DeAndre Jordan and some other bigs that have played with Chris Paul, it does wonders for their game. So he's going to do a wonder for Wembanyama down there and take Wembanyama's game to another level. So that is, some of the stuff. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that went on in free agency, but check your free agency tracker and follow those things. But any other, big news that we get, we'll drop it here on the show. Now we're going to stay in the NBA, but now what's the landscape? All these moves, all these trades, all these, re-signings, keeping people and all this stuff. What does that mean for the landscape of the NBA, right? I'll start off in the Eastern Conference. I talked about it a little bit earlier, but I think now this is a 3-tier. I mean, this is the first tier. Let me talk about that. The first tier is a 3-team tier, I should say. And I said it before, Boston, New York, and and Philadelphia. I think you slide them into that top tier conversation. Right below them, I would say is Milwaukee, because you got to think that the way that Milwaukee exited out, they're going to have a problem with that. You got to think Dame had a problem with that, Giannis, and they were hurt. They got hurt in the playoffs as well. So they're going to have something to prove as well, but it's more competition, in there. But let me stay in that top tier with it. New York lost Hartenstein to OKC, but you're going to have Mitchell Robinson back, and then Achua and some of the other guys, they're going to be asked to step in and provide, a contribution. But with the nucleus of team, especially the Villanova Knicks, that they got, they have a nice core. They have I think a formidable team to challenge anybody in the Eastern Conference. And of course, the Boston Celtics, they're the champs. So that's all that needs to be said. We need to go back and continue to do what we did before, but we got a target on our back because we're the champs and we haven't had a repeat champion in a while. So that's going to be their motivation to try and go back and win it again, because no one has won it, I think, in the past seven years back to back. Now, you got those other teams that you really got to worry about. Indiana, Cleveland, and Orlando. Orlando just got who was that? Caldwell Pope. So he's gonna help, to that team. So you got a good strong eight teams in the Eastern Conference. But I do believe it. Philadelphia, New York, and Boston will lead that. Now over on the Western Conference, you got a ton of teams. They flip in and out. I just talked about the Mavericks, so we don't need to talk about them. We got them, being back. Minnesota, will they, make that next step, make that next transition? Can Denver get back? I just mentioned they lost Caldwell Pope to free agency. So can Denver get back, into the mix? Will the Phoenix Suns, will they actually meet those expectations that everybody had for that big three that's down there? You got Houston that could be on the come up. You still got the Pelicans. I ain't even mentioned OKC. There's a ton. Maybe Sacramento. I think the Western Conference is going to be really tough. And we gotta say something about the Lakers, right? We gotta say something about the Lakers. How is LeBron and them? Who are they going to add? Now I know people are talking about, get Donovan Mitchell. I don't think it's just that easy to get Donovan Mitchell just like that. We've seen free agents go other places, so it's not like the Lakers are just the prime landing spot as of right now. So how can they turn that around? How's JJ Redick, going to really turn this team around? So what happens with Memphis? Ja will be back again. No suspension. He'll be able to do training camp and then start the season. So what happens with Memphis as well? So a lot of teams in the West that it's going to be a lot to take in and watch. So, but the landscape, we love it. We love it. We love the way it's set up. I'm going to get out of the NBA for a second, still staying in basketball, but the WNBA. So I said this person was a dog, and that is Angel Reese, right? And she called herself a dog. So that's what I'm saying. She's a dog. So don't get mad at me. Angel Reese, man, she just recently came off with 10 straight double-doubles, which is a WNBA record. And I want to give her flowers because I shouted out and shined on Caitlin Clark. I got to shine, and I've shined on Angel Reese before, but I got to shine on this as well, because there was this whole thing that Angel Reese, game in college was not going to transfer well over into the WNBA. And the one thing that you can't transfer over, that you can't improve, that you can't build off of, that you can't use an off season, is that right there, heart. That's why she a dog, because she go out, she play with heart, and she grimy with it, right? And she don't got a problem with doing the dirty work and everything. And then getting those rebounds is affecting the game, offensive. And I think she, I want to say, she's one of the leaders in offensive rebounds, if I remember correctly. But getting those rebounds, but also contributing on the offensive end. Angel Reese has come in, and right now, I'm just saying right now, if they did the draft over, and I know I sound, crazy because it is like the season just started July. I think Angel goes a little bit, a little bit higher than what she did. She's a champion in college. I think she was a champion in high school as well. And she just don't mind. She don't mind the jibber jabber, the talk. And she's a motivator. Obviously, you see that she's a leader, on that team, and they believe in her and they trust in her. So Angel Reese, man, out there, putting foot to what on the basketball court, and taking names, not even taking names, just delivering out, these whoopings that she's putting on there, and it's great for the WNBA, man. You need variety. You need someone like a Angel Reese. Then you need something, like a Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson and Sabrina UNESCO and then the Wiley veteran, Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner. You need this variation in the league, and it's just Angel is adding another spectrum, to it. And I say this all the time when I'm talking about the WNBA because Juju is coming. She is coming. So y'all gotta watch out for that. But props to Angel Reese, man. Great job, and look forward to seeing her do even more work out there in the WNBA. So we talk about PG, we talk about Clay, we talk about the NBA landscape. I want to finish this with I got to talk about it, but it's about my team, the Detroit Pistons, and they recently found themselves a coach in JB Bickerstaff, right? Former Cleveland Cavaliers coach. They signed him to a 5-year deal. And here's what I'm going to say about it. The obvious is Detroit's not in the position that they want to be in, should be, need to be, and all that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. I just hope, this is what I hope. You got a guy who's had success in Cleveland, some playoff success, has had, a superstar or high star level or all-star level player on his team. I'm hoping this can roll over into Detroit and help out. But then also, you need to give this coach time. I think, with Dwayne Casey was there maybe a couple years. They got him out of there. Then obviously we know with Monty, that was only 1 year. At this point, you got to have time. And Trajan Langdon talked about, being patient, with the process of getting his team off the ground. Kate Cunningham just got a rookie max deal. So it starts there. That's going to be the guy. The coach got to coach him up. Talent has to be better. But for all that to be done, you have to have a nucleus. You have to have you have to create a culture. You have to have something that when it's rolled out, people believe. If you keep having turnover and all this stuff, it's not going to, prosper. So that's what I'm hoping, for my Detroit Pistons, with this. So good luck, Coach Bickerstaff, man. I'll be rooting for you out there to definitely bring the Pistons back to prominence. That's where we need them. I know, 80, 88, 89, then it happened in 04. What's that? Yeah, it's around about time. We due for another one. So that's what I'm holding out hope for. But other than that, man, appreciate y'all. As once again, make sure if you haven't already watching this, turn on those notifications. Make sure you subscribe to this thing. Make sure, put a comment. If you need to put a comment, I'll respond back. Trust me, I will. But for your man, Jelani JB Bodie, Mo will be back next week. Right? And we'll do this like we always do. But until then, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.